A canvas tent shivers in an autumn wind. Kerosene lamps paint a 10-foot figure in gold, the petrified giant found in a farmer's field. People pay to see it. Whispers call it proof, at last, that giants once walked among us. But when the lights go cold, what remains? Bones or belief? Tonight we follow the trail from legend to lab, from hoax to hard evidence, driven by curiosity. Giants stand tall in the oldest tales. The Nephilim of Genesis, there were giants in the earth in those days, echo the awe of ancient listeners. The Titans of Greece wrestle with gods. The Jotnar of Norse myth stride across ice and fire. The word giant comes to us through Greek gigas, not a scientific category but a symbol. Otherness, danger, scale. Long before anatomy textbooks, a huge femur from a quarry or a tusk dredged from a river was a riddle. And humans are superb at answering riddles with stories. Imagine living in a world without paleontology. A farmer turns up a mastodon tooth, the size of a fist, and the village declares they've found a giant's molar. A quarryman pries out a mammoth femur, and it fits a tale better than a textbook. In early America and Europe, ministers, printers, and professors argued over giant bones. They weren't lying, but interpreting with what they knew. Stories, after all, were the first science, hypotheses in words. By the 1800s, newspapers learned that nothing sold like a wonder. Headlines bloomed: giant skeleton found in Ohio mound, 10-foot man unearthed in Minnesota. Measurements rarely matched. Photographs were scarce. Witnesses multiplied with telling. The Smithsonian received letters, rumors, even specimens, most mundane on arrival. By the early 20th century, anthropologists like Alice Hurd-Licca had sifted the claims, mismeasurements, misidentifications, and the occasional straight-up fake. A modern rumor that the Smithsonian destroyed giant bones tries to turn skepticism into conspiracy. The museum has said plainly it holds no secret cache, but hoaxes make noise, while corrections only whisper. Back to that tent. Cardiff, New York, 1869. A farmhand's shovel strikes stone. The pit reveals a 10-foot petrified man. Crowds flock. A promoter sells tickets. P.T. Barnum builds a rival exhibit across town and declares the first one a fake. He was right, but his motives weren't pure. Geologists notice the surface is too fresh. A sculptor admits to carving gypsum, then bathing it in acid and pricking it with needles to fake skin pores. The giant was exposed, but the lesson remains, proving that wonder can be made and examined. A century later, giant skeletons marched again, this time across screens. Dramatic images showed excavators beside skulls the size of cars. They spread with captions: found in Saudi Arabia, unearthed in Greece. The pictures were born in a Photoshop contest, and fact-checkers debunked them. But the thumbnails had done their work. Hoaxes are hydras. Cut off one head, two more appear. Here's what the record does say. The tallest verified human, Robert Wadlow of Illinois, measured 2.72 meters, 8'11" foot in 1940. His height came from a rare pituitary condition that flooded his body with growth hormone. Other very tall people, Zheng Jinlian, Sultan Kosen, also reach extraordinary heights due to medical causes. Biology gives us remarkable individuals, not a separate race of giant humans. Extreme height is hard on the body. It costs as much as it astonishes. If your imagination still craves scale, turn to the fossil record. Gigantopithecus blacki, the largest ape known, roamed parts of East and Southeast Asia, standing perhaps up to 3 meters when upright. We know it from massive molars and lower jaws. Studies suggest it faded out over 200,000 years ago, likely tied to climate shifts. A true giant, yes, but an ape cousin, not human. And in Ice Age plains, mammoths and mastodons left bones big enough to seed legends for centuries. Sometimes the land itself stages the story. In Northern Ireland, the Giant's Causeway locks tens of thousands of basalt columns into a honeycomb that steps into the sea. Geology explains it, cooling lava fracturing into hexagons, but legend names a builder, Finn McCool, who tossed the stones to reach Scotland. Both versions, rock and rumor, survive side by side, and the site is all the richer for it. Sail south to Sardinia, where the Bronze Age Nuragic culture left tomba dei giganti, giants' graves. They're collective tombs, long and curving, faced with upright slabs. No giant bones inside, only the remains of communities who built memory into stone. Names endure because stories walk farther than facts. Across the Aegean at Mycenae and Tiryns, ancient Greeks later called those megalithic fortifications Cyclopean, as if only one-eyed giants could lift such blocks. In truth, the walls were the work of organized labor and clever engineering, but the labels stuck. Cultures everywhere use giants as a language for scale. When something dwarfs us, we reach for a giant to explain it. Folklorist Adrian Mayer has a striking idea. Ancient people were doing a kind of proto-paleontology. They found immense bones and told stories to make them fit the world. A tusk becomes a horn, a leg bone becomes a hero's femur, a jaw becomes a monster's grin. Those stories aren't lies so much as early models, theory before method. Later, science brings tools, measurement, comparison, context. The morale isn't to mock the myth, but to see the ladder humanity climbed. You can trace the story with your own feet. At Cooperstown, the Cardiff giant lies under lights, history's most famous fake, still earning its keep as a lesson. In Alton, Illinois, a life-size statue of Robert Wadlow lets you stand beside the tallest verified human. Astonishment, anchored in measurement. The Giant's Causeway roars with Atlantic spray. Labels tell geology while tour guides still whisper Finn's name for the children. Across Sardinia, giants' graves curve against the sky. A name born from legend protects monuments built for many, not one. And in museums from New York to London, mammoth and mastodon bones speak plainly at last. The earth bred giants, but they weren't us. So did giants really walk the earth? In myth, magnificently. They give shape to our fears and our hopes. They guard coasts and crown hills. In biology, no tribe of titans leaves its skeletons to us. What we do have is richer and more interesting. Hoaxes that sharpen our skepticism. Geology stamped with pattern, medicine that explains marvels, and the fossil proof that nature plays with scale far beyond the human frame. The biggest thing we found tonight wasn't a bone. It was a better question. After a while, the fairground is quiet. The tent we stepped into is gone, but along a basalt shore, hexagons shine with salt, and a wind threads the stones at a Bronze Age tomb. Legends echo. Evidence endures. Giants didn't walk the earth. Curiosity does. If this journey shrank a legend and grew a question, walk on with Mythantis. There's more truth to unearth. Subscribe for the next reveal.